think about professional investors, what's the first thing they learn? They learn diversify your exposure. No one holds one stock or one bond.
Yeah.
They hold a portfolio of stocks, a portfolio of bonds. So we expect a lot of people who own Bitcoin ETFs like BITB to also allocate to Ethereum ETFs just on that simple diversification principle. Now, if I had to guess, I think there'll be a little bit slower acceleration of flows into Ethereum ETFs if they launch than we saw in Bitcoin, because there's more to learn. It's a more complex asset. It has different use cases. But you can be sure almost all professional investors are coming into the crypto market. They're going to want 1, 2, 5% exposure. And most of those are going to want to hold both of the largest assets, Bitcoin and ETH.
And if Wall Street will ever get comfortable with that sentiment?
I think they'll get comfortable with it. I think you'll see them look beyond Bitcoin and ETH toward things like Solana as they start to understand some of the non-financial applications of open blockchains. And I think that will resonate. The other place I think we're going to see huge investment, including from the largest financial institutions in the world, is in stablecoins. That's a $150 billion market. I think that will be a multiple trillion-dollar market in a few years, with big names like JP Morgan and Bank of New York and others trying to find a foothold in that space. So again, it's the same story. Trillions of dollars of assets looking to find their way into crypto. It's going to be Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, stablecoins, and other applications we're not even thinking about today.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have Matt Hogan from Bitwise speaking about Ethereum spot ETF. And we know there's going to be other spot ETFs down the line. But everyone says that Solana is next. So we know there's going to be a movie. When all of them are agreeing on one thing, we know there's going to be a movie behind it. And big corporations have been in crypto from the beginning. They're just not coming in, guys. The only thing I have to do is look at the funding rounds of all these big crypto projects. You're going to see the big banks and big corporations. But stable coins are definitely going to be $1 trillion market. Why, guys? Because that keeps the central banks in control. They're just going to peg them to CBDCs. And you're never going to know the difference, but these stable coins are programmable, telling you what, when, and how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend them or poof, it's gone. And then we have the Fed, 2% inflation. Oh, we're going to get there. But guys, we know they're doing this on purpose to crush this economy. Not just the United States, but the global economy. And it's all about corporate greed. Remember, there's only a few companies that own everything. If they wanted to drop prices and help consumers out, they could. But they just don't want to do it just yet. Hyper-deflation is definitely coming, but they want tokenization to follow right beside it. Remember, the globe is going on a level playing field. Everything's going to be tokenized and put on blockchain. And we have the BOJ, which is holding the globe up, has said they're going to slow down bond purchases but doesn't give any details. The reason why, because they don't want to rock the markets. They'll tell us on Monday. We know how they do on Friday. They'll tell us on Monday how things are going to go. But we know as soon as Japan started raising rates even more, slowing up these bond purchases, it affects the whole global economy. And guys, is Trump going to jail? And in my opinion, no, he's not. But we know they're going to keep this movie going on for the next month. But if Trump goes to jail, the movie ends. And we know they don't want that. They got to keep this movie going on to after this election. And after this election, the NWO is going to start waking the sheep into reality. Because, guys, we're going to have the rise of the machines. Yes, it takes 3 to 5 years. Yes, this is a plan. But we're going to slowly start seeing this technology move on in. We know it's been here. We know it's ready. So, guys, make sure you're in the lab getting yourselves prepared. Because in order to get us over to the 4th Industrial Revolution, we have to have that crisis. And we hear the drums are beating. The ship's getting in place. Guys, don't act like you don't see it. Remember, we're watchmen on the wall. As long as we tell people what's going on, our hands are free. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, It's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
2% attainable. Is it really?
Yes. Look, we're going to get to 2%. I'm telling you, that is what we're going to do. And we, if you look at the last month, we did it. But that's what we got to do. And we are going to do it.
We spend a lot of time thinking, okay, are they going to cut in September? Is this going to be a November cut? It sounds like you think a lot less about timing and more just about what the data starts to slowly bleed in. How many months? If 3 months to the upside wasn't necessarily enough to say, okay, we can't figure out a trend there, how many months does it take of inflation heading down?
Yeah. I mean, again, this is how comfortable are you in assessing where inflation is going, but also the risks around that outlook. Okay. So to me, I would want to see a few more months of good inflation data, inflation coming down, the short run inflation expectations starting to move down. And then, then you need to start thinking about, okay, this may be the right panoply of data and, portfolio of data, what's going on in the labor market, what's going on in inflation to actually move rates down. Because if you wait too long, right, if inflation's moving down, you're actually, by maintaining the current level, you're actually becoming more restrictive.
But hasn't that happened?
You have to kind of
hasn't that happened? You've gone from just under 1% to now you're north of what, 2% when it comes to how real.
Yeah, but we needed to get. But remember, right? It's not that the economy is happening over here and our policy is happening over here. The policy is having an effect to bring that down. So you have to have these calibrated, right? You want to calibrate your policy to get inflation on that sustainable downward path.
Well,
it seems that that is the point right now where BOJ policymakers are trying to get to an agreement in very much Japanese fashion. This decision really choreographing the changes in bond purchases. We were very much focused on whether or not they would reduce the bond purchases. They came out, they said that they would, but we didn't get any more details on what that would look like. And as you said, that will be decided in the next meeting. In fact, they voted 8-1 as a majority vote that they would go ahead with the reductions, but at the same time that the bond buying would be decided over the next 1 to 2 years at the next meeting. And so far, the buying of the JGBs would stay as decided in March, and that they would in fact hold a bond market group meeting in order to get some opinions on those JGB purchases. Now, there had already been reports in the past few days that choreographed that this bond purchase reductions would happen. The question this time around was by how much the reduction would be. Given that we didn't get any indication of those details, it's really not surprising, Jumana, that we're getting a hit on the Japanese yen and a reaction in JGB yields as well.
The defense attorneys, on the other hand, are going to make an argument that he should get no jail time. They've already said that because of the status of the ex-president, because the fact that this is the first offense, because of the fact that this is the lowest level of felony in New York State, and because of the fact that the vast majority of people who are convicted of this crime don't serve a period of incarceration.
He faces potentially 4 years in prison on a Class E felony, which is what this is. He could be fined $5,000. He could also be put on probation for probably as much as 4 years. He could be told to wear an ankle bracelet and confined to his home. There are all kinds of options here. He's a first-time offender, and I will tell you that statistically, first-time offenders normally do not get jail time on this offense. So historically that's been the case.
First-time offenders for these types of offenses don't typically get jail time. In addition to that, you can't send former President Trump to jail. And by that I mean, even if the judge were to sentence him, there's not a warden in the country who's not going to say, I can't keep this person safe inside my facility.
He could be sentenced to a conditional sentence, which means that the judge could set a series of conditions saying, for example, don't commit any more crimes, do community service, and if he doesn't comply with that, the judge could then send him to jail for a certain amount of time.
They will also be considering, as they must, here we have a 77-year-old defendant, no prior record, nonviolent E felony, maximum incarceration time 4 years. That will all weigh and should weigh in favor of the defendant.
Donald Trump has said in an interview recently that he would have no problem going to jail or serving a sentence of home confinement, but his supporters might not like that, and his family might like it.
I don't know that the public would stand it. I'm not sure the public would stand for it. I think it would be tough for the public to take. At a certain point, there's a breaking point.
I think it's distinctly possible that Trump's conduct inside of court and around court during this trial will play a role in Judge Merchan's sentence.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.